先生们、朋友们，人与自然是生命共同体，山脉与人类未来紧密关联。面对到2100年新都库什、喀拉昆仑、喜马拉雅山系预计将失去一半冰川量的现实危机，面对个别国家再度毁约退勤的单边主义逆流，全球生态治理的严峻性、复杂性、不确定性愈加突出。习近平主席指出，国际社会要以前所未有的雄心和行动，共商应对气候变化挑战之策，共谋人与自然和谐共生之道。本着这一精神，我愿就应对气候变化、共护人类未来分享3点建议。
Ladies and gentlemen, friends, man and nature are a shared community of life, and mountains are closely tied to our future. In the face of the stark reality that the Hindu Kush Karakoram Himalaya mountain range is projected to lose half of its glacier by 2100, and amid a certain country's unilateralist moves to willfully withdraw from treaties and organizations, the urgency, the complexity, and uncertainty of global ecological governance has become increasingly evident. President Xi Jinping stressed that the international community needs to come up with unprecedented ambition and action to discuss ways to tackle climate change and find a path forward for man and nature to live in harmony. In this spirit, I wish to share 3 proposals for addressing climate change and protecting our future.
第一，践行人类命运共同体理念，打造珠穆朗玛峰地区生态安全网。珠穆朗玛峰地区是全世界气候变化最敏感的区域，冰川消融，灾害频发，淡水告急，地区山地国家首当其冲。中国愿继续发挥负责任大国作用，支持地区国家完善监测预报预警体系建设，提升高山地区气候变化适应能力，防范应对地质灾害，加强高山水土资源可持续管理。中国愿继续为激发世界气象组织第3级区域气候中心网络、昆明、蒙特利尔全球生物多样化框架等平台机制效能贡献力量，推进实施应对气候变化南南合作10百千倡议，为发展中国家办好能力建设培训班。
First, it is important to act on the vision of a community with a shared future for mankind and build an ecological security network in the Mount Chumulama region. The Mount Chumulama region is one of the most climate-sensitive areas in the world, facing glacier retreat, frequent disasters, and freshwater shortages, with mountainous countries in the region bearing the brunt. China will continue to act as a responsible major country, support regional countries in improving their monitoring, forecasting, and early warning systems, enhancing climate change adaptation in high-altitude areas, preventing and coping with geological disasters, and strengthening sustainable management of water and soil resources in mountainous regions. China will continue to help improve the effectiveness of platforms such as the World Meteorological Organization's Third Pole Regional Climate Center Network, or TPRCC, and the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework, and advance the 10-100,000 initiative, which means 10 low-carbon pilot projects, 100 mitigation and adaptation projects, and 1,000 training opportunities for South-South cooperation on climate change. This also includes providing capacity-building workshops for fellow developing countries.
第二，践行共商共建共享的全球治理观，打造生态文明合作新高地。2018年以来，中方已成功主办4届中国西藏环喜马拉雅国际合作论坛，发起林芝倡议，同包括尼泊尔在内的环喜马拉雅地区国家并肩携手，在完善高原生态环境治理、推动绿色发展、深化文明互鉴等方面开展交流合作。中方愿继续积极探索珠穆朗玛对话和环喜马拉雅国际合作论坛对接协同，守护好世界屋脊，保护好人类共同家园。今年10月，中国将在加德满都同尼方共同举办环喜马拉雅 地球系统科学国际大会，共商气候变化与人类活动双重影响下的地球系统的应对之策，欢迎各国朋友积极参加。
Second, it is important to act on the global governance philosophy of extensive consultation and joint contribution for shared benefit, to create a new shining example on jointly building an ecological civilization. Since 2018, China has hosted 4 editions of the China-Xizang Trans-Himalaya Forum for International Cooperation and launched the Ningxi Initiative. China worked with Nepal and other countries in the Trans-Himalaya region to advance exchanges and cooperation in improving ecological governance on the plateau, promoting green development and deepening mutual learning among different civilizations. China stands ready to explore synergies between the Chumulama Dialogue and the Trans-Himalaya Forum for International Cooperation to safeguard the roof of the world and protect our shared home. In October this year, China will co-host the Trans-Himalaya Earth System Science International Conference with Nepal in Kathmandu to discuss ways for addressing the dual impacts of climate change and human activities on the Earth system. We welcome the active participation of friends from all countries.
第三，践行真正的多边主义，打造全球气候治理新图景。尽管个别大国热衷单边主义、保护主义、霸权主义，对国际规则和国际秩序造成严重冲击，但中国积极应对气候变化的行动不会放缓，促进国际合作努力不会减弱，推动共建地球生命体的实践不会停歇。应对气候变化是全人类共同的事业，唯有坚定维护联合国气候变化框架条约以及巴黎协定的主渠道地位，秉持共同但有区别的责任原则，各尽所能，团结协作，才能共同应对挑战。发达国家应当履行义务，落实承诺，切实向发展中国家提供资金、技术和能力建设支持。中方坚定支持巴西作为主席国成功举办联合国气候变化辩论大会。中国将于会前宣布覆盖全经济范围，包括所有温室气体的2035年国家自主贡献目标。
Third, it is important to act on true multilateralism to open up new prospects for global climate governance. Despite a certain major country's inclination toward unilateralism, protectionism, and hegemonism, which has severely undermined international rules and order, China will not slow down its climate actions. China will not reduce its support for international cooperation, and China will not cease its efforts to build a community of all life on Earth. Tackling climate change is a common cause for all humanity. We must firmly uphold the central role of the UNFCCC and its Paris Agreement, adhere to the principle of common but differentiated responsibilities and respective capabilities, and work together as one. Developed countries must fulfill their obligations and commitments and provide substantial financial, technological, and capacity-building support to developing countries. China firmly supports Brazil in hosting the COP30 climate conference in Belém, and China will announce its 2035 NDCs covering all economic sectors and all greenhouse gases before the conference.
女士们、先生们、朋友们，中国有句古话：“山高人为峰。”尼泊尔有句谚语：“滴水也能装满缸。”让我们携起手来，缔造绿色发展新格局，共同书写人与自然和谐共生的文明新篇章，共同建设清洁、美丽、可持续的世界。
Ladies and gentlemen, friends, as a Chinese proverb goes, no mountain is too high for those who seek its peak. The Nepalese often say, drop by drop is the water pot filled. Let us join hands to foster a new paradigm of green development, co-author a new chapter of harmony between man and nature, and together build a clean, beautiful, and sustainable world.
谢谢大家。
Thank you.
谢 Shishir. Thank you, Excellency, for the statement on behalf of Government of the People's Republic of China. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we now have received a video message for the Sagarmatha Sambad from His Excellency, Mr. Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations. I now would like to request our technical team to play the video message. Thank you.
Your Excellency, Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli, dear friends, I'm so pleased to send a message of solidarity and support to this first ever Sagarmatha Sambad. I couldn't agree more with the spirit of this gathering, that your majestic mountains, including Sagarmatha, truly inspire us to think beyond borders and reflect through dialogue and engagement. I have felt that spirit on my visits to Nepal, including most recently when I had the privilege of seeing the glacial valley basins of Mount Everest and the Annapurnas. And I saw firsthand how the rooftops of the world are caving in. Record temperatures have meant record glacier melt. Nepal today is on thin ice, losing close to 1/3 of its ice in just over 30 years. And your glaciers have melted 65% faster in the last decade than in the previous one. Nepal and so many other vulnerable frontline countries did not cause this tragedy, but you are living with the impacts. And we know when glaciers shrink, so the river flows. In the future, major Himalayan rivers like the Indus, the Ganges and Brahmaputra could have massively reduced flows, combined with saltwater intrusion that would decimate deltas. We would see low-lying countries and communities erased forever. Millions of people on the move with fierce competition for water and land, and floods, droughts and landslides accelerating worldwide. That is why last year from Nepal I sent a global message to the world: stop the madness. And that is why you are gathered together focused on Sambad, dialogue. The world has much to learn from Nepal's climate leadership, from your local adaptation plan of action, to pioneering the United Nations early warning systems for all initiative, the extraordinary efforts on reforestation, and pushing to reach your climate goals by 2045. The world must act without delay to keep 1.5 degrees in reach, with the biggest emitters in the lead, by seizing the opportunities of renewable energy and the benefits they bring to communities and economies, by making good on climate finance commitments, including the $1.3 trillion climate finance goal agreed at COP29, by honoring the promise of developed countries to double adaptation finance to at least $40 billion this year, and by delivering serious support to the Loss and Damage Fund to help the most vulnerable. Achieving these goals demands bold cooperation across nations and sectors. The United Nations is your ally in this essential task, and I thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we wish to thank His Excellency Secretary General of the United Nations for his thoughtful video message. We fondly recall the official visit to Nepal by Secretary General in 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, now I have the honor to humbly request the Right Honorable Prime Minister to officially unveil the Nepal government's NDC 3.0. So to do the honors, I'd like to request Right Honorable Prime Minister to please come up on stage. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the official unveiling of Nepal government's NDC 3.0. And also to officially hand it over to the COP29 President, His Excellency Mr. Mukhtar Babayev, I'd like to kindly request sir to please come up on the stage. Thank you. Thank you, Right Honorable Prime Minister, for doing the honors. And now I'd like to request Right Honorable Prime Minister the chair of the steering committee of the Sagarmatha Sambad 2025, to address this august gathering. Thank you.
Honorable Ministers, esteemed guests, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and Namaste. It is both a deep honor and a heartfelt privilege to welcome you to the inaugural edition of Sagarmatha Sambad. This is Nepal's Global Dialogue Initiative, a platform for thoughtful reflection, for principled engagement, and for addressing the most urgent challenges of our time. Today, the line between local and global has all but vanished. What happens in one corner of the world echoes across the rest. The fire that rages in one land darkens the skies of others. The melting of distant glaciers shifts the rains, floods the fields, and passes the plains far away. The decisions of a few can shape the destiny of many. It is within this deeply interconnected reality that the Sagarmatha Sambad was born. A space for honest dialogue, for shared wisdom, for collective action. We have named it after Sagarmatha, the highest point on earth. And we hope this Sambad, our dialogue, will rise just as high. High in moral clarity, bold in intellectual courage, steady in our shared vision for a better world. Ladies and gentlemen, today the world stands before towering metaphorical mountains. Challenges loom vast and urgent. There, the recovery from the pandemic is still fragile. The climate crisis is speeding up. In many corners of the world, peace feels more distant than ever. Trust in global institutions is weakening. Inequalities within countries and across borders are growing deeper. Multilateralism, once a guiding light, now sways under heavy storms. And yet, amidst this uncertainty, we hold on to a simple, powerful belief: the power of dialogue. Ladies and gentlemen, Nepal is not just a piece of geography. It is a sacred land where wisdom breathes through every stone and stream. Here the spirit of awakening was born. This is the land of Lord Buddha. From this soil, a light emerged, guiding humanity towards peace, compassion, and harmony. It is soil where sages meditated, where seekers found truth, where rishis offered the world a wealth of knowledge that still uplifts the human soul. Nepal has always been a place of seekers, not of conquerors, but of contemplators. Not of battles, but of dialogue. Our tradition is rooted in listening with respect, in speaking with sincerity, and in seeking truth together. Sagarmatha Samvad is born from that very spirit. It is a gentle revival of our ancient ways, a space where wisdom bows to humility, where many voices come together with reverence, where we look for answers, not with ego, but with empathy. We are reminded of an ancient truth, Vade Vade Jayate Tattvada. Through dialogue, truth shines. Even in moments of deep division, it is not silence or shouting that helps us. It is honest conversation. It is honest listening. It is speaking from the heart. Sagarmatha Samvad is our humble attempt to carry this sacred legacy forward. Our first theme speaks to our soul: climate change, mountains, and the future of humanity. As a Himalayan nation, this is not a distant issue. It is our daily reality. But it is not just ours, it is the world's. Can humanity survive without its mountains? Can we protect the future without protecting these ancient guardians? Mountains may seem far away, but their breath keeps half the world alive. From the Arctic to the Andes, from the Alps to the Himalayas, they are the Earth's water towers, they are our climate poles, and they are in danger. Their fragility is our shared vulnerability. From the lap of Sagarmatha, the world's highest peak, we send this message loud and clear. To protect the mountains is to protect the planet. To protect the mountains is to protect our seas. To protect the mountains is to protect humanity itself. Let this Samvad be not just a dialogue, but a determination. A determination to listen, to act, and to work together towards a gentler, wiser, and more compassionate world. Ladies and gentlemen, climate change is no longer a distant threat. It is the greatest challenge of our time. It touches everything: our planet, our people, our shared prosperity. No nation is untouched. No society is safe. But the heaviest burden falls on those least responsible. The poorest, the most vulnerable, the mountainous, and the least developed. Nepal stands among them. We have done little to cause this crisis, yet we face its harshest consequences. Glaciers are melting, rains are uncertain, landslides sweep away homes, floods and droughts come without warning. And still, we stand firm. Our emissions are small, almost negligible, but our contributions are meaningful. Our Himalaya cool the region, nature's own climate stabilizer. Our forests cover nearly half of the land, breathing in carbon, breathing out hope. Our rivers flow from the high snows, quenching the thirst of millions. Our protected areas are sanctuaries guarding the planet's rich biodiversity. Nepal has pledged net zero emission by 2045, 5 years ahead of the global target. We are advancing adaptation plans. We are greening our economy. We are weaving sustainability into our national vision. Yet we cannot do it alone. No country can. Climate change is a global emergency. It calls for a global response. A response anchored in justice, rooted in responsibility, fueled by solidarity. Climate justice must lead the way. Those who pollute the most must do the most. They must support the most vulnerable with finance, with technology, with capacity. And let us not forget the mountains. Too often, they are ignored in global terms, yet they regulate climate. They store water. They recharge the land. They cradle life. When mountains fall, valleys suffer, rivers dry up, crops fail, oceans rise, lives unravel. The Himalaya, our third pole, are warming faster than the global average. Glaciers are vanishing. Glacial lakes are swelling. Millions downstream are at risk. We need a bold, integrated vision, a mountains to oceans approach. We must give mountains the attention they deserve, with special financing, with tailored policies. We must invest in clean energy, grow climate resilient crops, uplift women and youth, and protect those forced to move. Let us strengthen risk assessment, build early warning systems, share data, work together across borders, and most importantly, let us bridge ancient wisdom with modern innovation. This is how we build resilience. This is how we honor the earth. This is how we protect our shared future. Ladies and gentlemen, the mountains inspire us, not because they stand apart, but because they rise above. They offer perspective. They teach us to think beyond ourselves. In that spirit, our dialogue must rise to above narrow interest toward a higher shared purpose. Let us join hands. Let us act with courage and care for a future that is just, for a planet that is sustainable. We need fresh resolve, bold ideas, new investments, and deep cooperation across regions, across the world. A green, resilient, and sustainable future is not a choice. It is the only path forward. Sagarmatha Samvad is our humble offering, a global platform to listen, to speak, and to understand, a space to build trust, to imagine a world where harmony with nature and equity among people is not a distant dream but a living reality. Together, let us climb towards the summit of resilience, towards the peak of justice, toward a future built on shared hope. We look forward to your wisdom, to your voices, to your vision throughout this Sambad. May our time in Nepal be joyful and inspiring in the land of Sagarmatha, in the land of Buddha. Thank you. Thank you.
We are deeply grateful to Right Honorable Prime Minister for his insightful address and inspiring vision, ladies and gentlemen. With the address by Right Honorable Prime Minister, now it is time for the photo session of the head of ministerial level delegations with Right Honorable Prime Minister and the chair of the steering committee of Sagarmatha Sambad. I would now like to request all our delegates, His Excellency Mr. Xiao Jie, Vice Chairman, Standing Committee of the 14th National People's Congress, China, to please come up on stage and join Right Honorable Prime Minister. I'd like to request all our delegates, His Excellency Shri Bhupender Yadav, Minister of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, India. Honorable Dr. Arzurana Deuba, Minister for Foreign Affairs of Nepal. Honorable Mr. Ayan Bahadur Shahid Thakuri, Minister for Forest and Environment, Nepal. His Excellency Jem Chiring, Minister for Energy and Natural Resource, Bhutan. His Excellency Mr. Mukhtar Babayev, COP29 President, Ministry of Ecology and Natural Resources of the Republic of Azerbaijan. Her Excellency Ms. Sharmeen Soneya Murshid, Advisor to the Ministry of Social Welfare and Ministry of Women and Children Affairs of Bangladesh. His Excellency Abdullah Balala, Assistant Foreign Minister for Energy and Sustainability Affairs of UAE. His Excellency Barons Heyman of ULOC, Parliamentary Undersecretary of State, Department of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, UK. Thank you. We would like to thank Right Honorable Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli and all our honorable dignitaries and ministers for the official photo session. Ladies and gentlemen, with this photo session, we conclude the opening session of the Sagarmatha Sambad 2025. May I kindly remind all distinguished delegates that the plenary session will commence at this Mega Malar Hall in half an hour, 30 minutes. That is 11:35. The plenary session will start. Wishing to see many of you in the plenary and the roundtable sessions. We will continue working together for fruitful dialogue, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great day ahead. Thank you.